What's going on, fish nerds? Coming to you live from the fish room, doing things a little bit different. Just going live today instead of actually having a edited video or an edited video. Excuse my bad English. Just for one simple reason, I've been busy as all get out, and I haven't had time to edit. Abel, what up? I've been out of town a lot, and I've got a lot of stuff going on out here in the garage slash fish room. A lot of projects I'm working on trying to get done, and I've been working so much trying to get things done while I am home that I haven't had time to actually put together a video. But I didn't want to just leave you guys hanging without putting out a video this week, so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go live, just go raw, not edit anything, and just put something out there and show you guys what I'm working on and what all we're adding to the fish room, what all we're doing. Georgia, how's it going? So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Kang, what's going on, man? Good to see you, buddy. So let's just go ahead and get into it. See if I can flip. This is my first time ever going live on the phone. So right off the bat, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. This place is a mess. I know it's a mess. I get comments every time I show the entire fish room instead of just one tank. I get a ton of comments about this guy's a slob. Didn't his mama teach him how to clean his room? I know, but I got a lot of stuff going on out here, so there's a bunch of junk. And not all the tanks look great. Just keeping it real with you guys. I mean, look at all this blackbeard algae I got going on in here. This tank's getting ready to get a rescape. But this is the main thing I've been working on here is this rack right here. And I've been missing a ton of people in the chat. I saw JH Aquatics in here. What's going on, my man? Daryl Dimmer. What's going on, guys? So I've got the tanks in here. I've got them drilled. You guys have seen this rack a while ago when I first set it up. But now I've got the 6 10-gallon tanks. All of these, or at least most of these, are going to be shrimp breeding tanks. And this guy here already has my Blue Dream shrimp in it. This tank was actually already drilled and already had the shrimp in it, so I just lowered the water down and just carried it over here and sat it down. Then these are this was already here, this one was already here, but they were not drilled, so I drilled them, got them moved over here, and I'm kind of stuck until some things come in the mail, because when I ordered my bulkheads, I somehow miscounted and I need 4 more than what I got. So I need another bulkhead for here and then some more for down there. So that way we can get the drip system set up. And we've got some matin filters going on over here, courtesy of our dear friends at Aquatics, our proud sponsors of the channel. If you guys need any shrimp or shrimp supplies, matin filters, anything like that, sponge filters, make sure you go to flipaquatics.com. They will take care of you, and you will not be disappointed with Flip Aquatics. So shout out to our sponsors there. So that's what's going on with the new rack. I need to get air run over here. We've got the air pump here. That pump should be enough to do these tanks and these tanks. As far as how powerful it is, I may have to move it closer to the center of the room in order for it to reach them both and still be powerful enough. I'm not sure if just running the 1/2-inch hose across the ceiling is going to leave enough air pressure to run these, or if I'm going to need to move it over. So we're going to experiment with that, and I'll figure that out. As far as how all this plumbing is going to work, I'm going to just run PVC from here to here, and then so it's going to go out of here, into here, 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 down to there, and then back across. So it's going to flow through these tanks and then down to these and back out is how the drip system is going to work on these. And I understand as far as avoiding cross-contamination and separate systems, it's just going to be one big system as if they were all on one big sump pump. I understand there's some risks involved with that, but it's something that I'm willing to accept for the simplicity of it. And there is a little bit of separation in that anything downstream won't be going upstream because the water is going to be flowing one direction through the system rather than recirculating. So it's not going to be entirely like all one system, but there will be some downstream flow of some things like that. Now, having this set up, my next big thing is going to be getting this tank moved. This is just a quarantine tank. I'm growing out some cardinal tetras in there so that they're big enough to go in with my angelfish. But once I can get this moved, I'm going to get rid of this table entirely, open up this floor for two reasons. One, so I can have more walking around space, maybe put like a swivel chair here, so that way I can just sit and swivel around and look at everything. Two, as you can see, this table just becomes a catch-all, and all the junk in the fish room just ends up here. You know, knickknacks and junk and garbage and stuff, I just toss it on the table because the table's there, and it ends up just turning into a mess. And I'm sick of it, so if I get rid of the table, I can't put anything on it. So hopefully that'll take care of that. This is what happens when you leave a magazine on the floor and then let it get wet, and it just becomes part of the floor permanently. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Over here we got our turtle tank, and you guys know I was having some issues with aggression with the diamondback terrapins, and I thought it was the males fighting the males, because I did see one male bite another male's tail in the past, but it turns out I've discovered that the main culprit was actually my female. So we've got two males left in here. I got completely brain stuck there for a second. So back when I thought it was the males being the problem, I am now down to just two males and one female, but then things continued, and I realized that every time I took a male out, the problem, it was still the other male kept getting beaten up. Like a male would get beat up, I'd pull him out of the tank, put him in a separate tank, and then the other male would get beat up. So it became obvious that it wasn't the males beating each other up, but the female. So now I've got the two males in here, and they're getting along just fine. And our female is up here in turtle prison. Got her in a tank up here. I actually just got this moved up here last night. So she is up here kind of quarantined because I was reading online that when you have issues with an aggressive female, that you can pull her out of the tank, give her a few months to get used to being somewhere else, and then when you reintroduce her, it should be kind of like a new environment to her all over again, and she should get along with everybody. At least that's what the Diamondback Terrapin forum I was reading online had to say about it. So I'm going to give that a try. So she's going to hang out up here for a few months until I can reintroduce her down there. And at that point, I did drill this tank so I can have it on the drip system even with her in it, but I'll just put a little return tube to raise the water level and get some fish in there once she's proven that she can be a constructive member of society instead of picking on all the males. Yeah, give her time to think about what she's done. Exactly. And down here, this tank is going to go through a revamp. Actually, it's going to move over there. But this tank always gets a lot of love and a lot of hate. Every time I show this tank, people talk about how it's ugly, it's a mess, the water's murky, there's too many snails, it's gross. And then a lot of people just love it because there's so many living things in here. But we've got a male bristlenose guarding that cave, a male guarding this cave, a male guarding that cave, and earlier today there was one guarding that cave. But we've got a ton of cherry shrimp in here. And I'll admit, the water is murky. This is not a pretty tank, but I did also feed them 2 entire cans of French cut green beans yesterday, and you can see there are no green beans left in there. It's just because this is a very hungry tank, and you know that puts off a lot of waste that ends up floating around in the water column. But we've got some baby bristlenose. There's one right here, little baby bristlenose. And tons and tons and tons of cherry shrimp. Sean Dwyer says, excellent breeding for profit tank. That's exactly what this is. This tank isn't here to be pretty. It's just my breeding for profit tank. I just feed it a bunch and let things breed, and then I take them to my local fish store. That's what this tank is for. So it doesn't bother me that it gets some hate. It doesn't bother me that it's ugly. But it is in a nice location, which is why I want to move its contents down there to where it's a little more out of sight, so I can still have fun with it, breed a lot with it, but let something prettier be here. I'll scape it out and do something nicer with this tank once I get everything else moved out of here and down there to the other rack. Down here we just got little holding tank that started as a grow out, but now everything's grown and they're all just still in there because I haven't been able to sell these Moanda cichlids, so they all just still hang out there. They're kind of spooked right now because I got down here with the phone. Move them to Ugly Town. Yeah, maybe that's the name of the new rack, is Ugly Town, or at least the bottom row of it. They're all kind of hanging out back here. These are really pretty fish. I love these fish, but they really should do better with a single pair in a tank, and I've got like 20 to 30 fish in there, and then we got a bunch of larger bristlenose in there. And this is what happens when a tank with no substrate gets fed an entire can of green beans every few days. Once a week, you got to go in there and just suck up all the poo, because that's how much poo these guys put off just from eating so many green beans through the week. Down here, we got our little 20 high nano. Got a bunch of shrimp in here, and my phone is struggling with this lighting down here and trying to focus on these little bitty fish. But we got some exclamation point rasboras in here with these guys. Got some assassin snails and a ton of Malaysian trumpet snails, hence the assassin snails. And my adult Moanda cichlids are in here. At least the father of all these guys is up here. And I did introduce what I thought was a female in here because he got really reclusive when the female died. The mother of all those others passed away, and I introduced what I thought was another female, thinking that would get him out and about a little more. And turns out I had just picked a subdominant male that was showing some kind of female-ish colors. So now I've got two males in there, and the big daddy, he does beat up on the other one a little bit, but not too bad because they do have caves and places to hide and stuff. But I need to get that other one out of there so I can get a true female in there, and hopefully that'll bring him out. And I want to get some dithers in there too. Got some algae to deal with. It's just got I've got a lot of things going on, so algae hasn't been my highest priority. So I do have a little bit of algae going on in here, some hair algae that needs to be pulled out. I've just been focusing on some macro issues, getting this room cleaned up, getting this rack put up, getting that tank up there, because up until last night, that tank was sitting on the floor right here, like in my way, so I basically had to walk around it in order to even get in here. So that's the kind of stuff I've been dealing with, just trying to get all that cleaned up. Once I get this rack up and running, and now that the turtle's up there, and once I get this table cleared out of the way, then I'll be able to start doing some things like cleaning this tank up, moving this tank over here, getting this scaped out and getting it looking real nice, adding some new fish, doing the same down here, getting these fish out of here, getting this scaped out and get it looking nice. Eventually when the turtle comes out, we'll do some cool things with this tank as well. But probably the first thing I'm going to do once I get all this stuff taken care of, get the necessities taken care of, is I'm going to clean out this tank, pull out most of the decor that's in here, and I've got some new wood that I'm going to use, some pretty cool pieces of Malaysian driftwood that we're going to work with, and scape this thing out really nice. And we'll add probably a school of like rummy nose tetras in here to get some activity going on. We're going to move out the loaches and do some cool stuff in this tank. You can see the tail. Well, you can sort of, through the black beard algae, see the tail of my big red cactus pleco back there. That dude's a behemoth. When he comes out at night, I'll come over with a flashlight and check him out, and he's just huge and gorgeous, and I love him. Got our king tiger pleco that hangs out in this little log all the time. Clown pleco hiding around somewhere. And we got our big clown loaches hang out in these little tubes. It's probably not going to pick up through there. It's too dark. Those guys are about 5-6 inches. Here's his tail popping out there. So that's what we got going on lately. And come on. There we go. And I am sweating in here because I have been working in here all day until I went live. I was working in here all night last night, and it's hot in here. So that's why I'm a sweaty, gross mess. But You know, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. I apologize. I haven't kept up with the chat. Let me see. I can't bring it back. I don't know how to bring it back. Okay, now it's up. Here we go. So we got crystals, pets, and plants in here. What's going on? Glad you're here. 54 Punchy in the house. Just Shrimp Granny. Vet Rivera, how's it going? Daryl S. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Chubby Guppy, what's going on? If you're still here, I think I'm getting on early in the chat now, scrolling through this. But I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you watching. Be sure to stay tuned. If you aren't subscribed, do that, because like I'm saying, there's going to be a lot of things going on in here. I'm going to be getting some new fish. I've got plans for more tanks even once we get all this stuff done, once this tank is rocking and rolling. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. I don't want you to miss it. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you, fish nerds. And I'll see you next time. Now, how do I end this? I don't even know how to end it.